Welcome to our chapter 4. Here we are looking at assessment instruments and tools. Now, as assessors, we all use tools that are pre-designed to assess, but what we need to understand in this course, in this chapter, is to actually understand what do our instruments do. Firstly, we have what you call integrated assessment that I want you to understand. Integrated assessment is about assessing a number of outcomes together or a number of assessment criteria. These assessment criteria are part of our unit standard. The assessment criteria make the specific outcomes. We also need to understand that we can actually integrate our assessments by assessing a number of unit standards together. In this case, if you look at your manuals or your course structure, we have 2 unit standards together, so there's been a lot of overlaps in between the specific outcomes, the assessment criteria, because surely I don't have to ask you the same thing over and over again just to meet an outcome. If you've shown me that you can do it, I can use what you've shown me. So hence we actually integrate and use a number of outcomes or a number of unit standards together. Sometimes we can combine assessment methods so that we have a variety of methods and we get what we want. We can even collect naturally occurring evidence. This is particularly useful for people that are at work, where they have an opportunity to actually show the naturally occurring evidence. They will gather that and bring it to us. If somebody can show you that they can do a report, should they really then come back again and write another report? What you need to just ensure is it really them that have written the report? That's it. In this chapter, we'll also look at principles of good assessment that we need to master. Very good. We need to actually look at the principles of good assessment so that when we assess, we know whether we are doing the right thing or we are not doing the right thing. And if we do not get our principles of assessment right, this is where appeals come through. Learners can appeal against us, and if we have not adhered to the good principles of assessment, they can appeal and they can win against us. They can actually, a moderator may overturn the decision that you make out of that appeal because you just didn't do things the right way. So please, let's take note of the principles of good assessment. As assessors, we also need to take note of Bloom's taxonomy. The Bloom's taxonomy is a good word to know because it tells you when you are designing your material, what questions should you ask? Should the learners be listing, which is a lower level at level 1, or should they be discussing, which is a higher level? And if they have to discuss, how much should they discuss? So the Bloom's taxonomy, as well as the SAQA level descriptors, will give us those guidelines to say, okay, here, this is what they are doing. They need to do certain things. But I want you to understand who Bloom is. What does he do? He was a contributor to education and training. And Bloom talks about 3 areas, 3 domains that he wants us to know. Firstly, he wants us to know that there's a cognitive domain. Here we actually think, and we don't have to do anything else. We think in the cognitive domain, and then there's a what is called an affective domain. Here we feel. What do I feel? What changes me when I talk about it? When I talk about something, what is it that changes in me? And then the psychomotor domains, those are the skills or our ability to do something. It comes from our psychomotor domain. Now, it is very important that we as assessors take note of this so that we are able to design our activities properly, or we are able to even assess our learners knowing what is it that they do. It assists us to pitch our assessment at the right level. Imagine if I could take a grade 2 child and take a metric paper to them. Will it work? I've obviously pitched it at the wrong level, not even because of how I've just taken that paper, but I've pitched it seriously at a wrong level. If you looked at your NQF levels, you know where level 1 is and where level 4 or 5 is. So why should I do that? So we need to pitch our assessment at the right level. And while we do that, we need to take note of the fact that we as assessors are really ambassadors of the NQF. We need to make sure that should there be learners that express that they have special needs, let's listen to them. Let's deal with it properly. That is what will set us apart from good assessors, because our duty is to be the ambassadors of the NQF, and we need to do this by looking at the special needs for different people, checking how you can plan with that in mind so that our assessment are well taken care of. So we will be looking at assessment instruments and the tools that we use, how we can integrate our assessments, how we can use principles of good assessment, how we can use Bloom's taxonomy, or check even the SAQA level descriptors. It gives us so much guidelines of what it is that we can do as we proceed. All the best for Chapter 5.